You really want to start it already, though?
Yeah, why not? No one's gonna actually watch our live stream. It's just gonna be there.
And then be saved for posterity.
Mm-hmm.
Forever and ever.
All right, I'm gonna start recording.
Probably a good idea.
You're gonna start recording what?
On my Audacity stream.
All right,
I have a problem with my Yeti mic because Audacity is not recording.
You know, you have to pick out the Yeti mic specifically in Audacity, right?
I did. And I'm getting no up and downs.
Well, that's a problem.
It's so stupid. What the hell's going on? It's like I can only have one application. So
I got a brand new bottle.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you. Okay. We're just ignoring you.
All right. So in Audacity, I'm just going to record my other mic.
Pasted some stuff.
You have the.
All right. Ooh, chakalaka.
That's my setup. Do you like that?
Pulling it up now. Should only take about a half hour. Look at you treating yourself. Headphones and mic, huh?
Headphones and mic. Well, I don't want to get the mic and then be using these headphones still.
I'm like somebody else on this stream right now.
I wasn't pointing fingers.
It's stupid. I don't know what's going on. Something's messed up.
Well, you get that whole setup for that $36, man.
Yeah, you have to get a phantom power for the microphone still.
What does that mean, phantom power?
So it's a condenser mic, which means that it has to be powered by like a household voltage. So
really?
So you have to buy one. It's like in total it came to like $65 for that setup. Just because you need to buy an extra cable and then a power converter.
Surprised they don't include it in there. Oh, there it is. You got the frequently bought together.
Yeah.
Bottom there, yeah. Right. Did we lose you, John?
I don't know. Did you?
Oh, nope, you're there. All right.
And all of a sudden, my ping times dropped to 20 milliseconds.
Time order.
All right, John, are you recording?
I am recording.
All right, let's do a mark. Let's just kick this off, and we'll just wing it from here. Let's wing it. Fuck it. Okay, we'll do it live. We'll do it live. All right. Oh, I just heard feedback from somebody.
Because you yelled into the microphone?
I was saying maybe not yell. That might be a good idea. All right, everybody shut up and listen to me. Let me lead you into a journey. No, shut up, everybody. Shut up. Mark.
Is that how you're supposed to do it?
Yeah.
That's close enough. Yeah.
So confused.
Right. Well, I don't care. I don't have to edit it.
I'm going to go ahead and kick this off here in a second. All right, I think I know what I'm going to do here. Okay. All right, so John, are you making this a regular thing? No, don't answer that. Don't answer that. I'll ask you in a second. Hold on. All right.
Our glorious leader.
Shh. I'm trying to start a show.
Are you doing this? Don't answer. Don't answer. Don't answer.
Stop.
Eric, what are you drinking?
Quiet. I just told
What?
you.
Don't
my
no,
wife
don't
bought-
answer. Don't answer. Don't.
So confused.
Hey, stop talking, everybody.
I thought we already did the whole marking thing. I'm so confused.
Yeah.
We did the mark. That was just to synchronize everything. Now we got to actually do the lead in, the hellos.
The
The
hellos.
shh. Shh.
Shh.
Hey Tom.
Hey, Eric, how's it going?
Good. Hey John.
Hey, what's going on?
You're back, huh?
For
You
now,
decided to join us for another show.
Like a
as
bad
long as
penny.
as long as you will have me, I guess.
You know. Oh, so you're gonna make this a regular thing? We're gonna have to change our hangout address then.
Until you kick me out. How about that?
until your cable modem blows up.
Pretty much. No, I told you when you had the idea that I wanted to be a part of it, but I had to wait till I had my new house with my own office, so I had a
Humble brag.
space where I could talk to you.
Yeah, you're a needy individual. So how was everybody's week?
Oh, it was
Stressful?
pretty good week for me.
Yeah?
Definitely stressful. Definitely had a lot of stuff going on, but
Stressful. What could possibly be stressful? John, you start. What was stressful about your week?
Same as always, just tons of work to be done and little time to do it in.
Well, that's a
That
good
doesn't
stress to
change.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stress, I guess. It's still stressful. Always worrying
But-
about things needing to be done.
Never enough time in the day, you know?
That is true.
getting microphones working, trying to get things recording can be very stressful.
Well, on a Sunday night, yes. During the rest of the week, just constant work. Some of us don't have time to kick our feet up and watch Lyricast during our day.
Hey.
So much so that we added as a topic of what do you do with your downtimes?
Yes, there's downtime. Sometimes there's downtime. I don't see why this is my fault.
I got a big old mosquito. I got a mosquito in my office. I got a skeeter. There's a skeeter in my office.
So we get to watch while Eric drunkenly bats at his computer hardware. Get out of here, Skeeter!
I have a bump.
Oh, you're just dropping audio left and right now. That Skeeter got into the equipment.
He has no clue what you're saying. He's not paying attention.
Nah, he's out. Well, I've had some interesting stuff going on this week. Boy, did we just completely lose Eric?
I think so. Yep, we did.
Yeah.
Good thing this is streaming live to YouTube.
Hey, you got to show how the sausage is made sometimes.
That's gross. Nobody needs to know.
It's industry secrets in here. Oh, I hope his laptop didn't crash again.
Can you hear me now?
Hey there, you're
Yep.
on live with PHPUgly. What's your question?
Jesus Christ. I told you this is a mean ass mosquito, man. You just attacked my hardware and all hell broke loose.
I love how concerned your dog is with all of this frantic behavior.
He doesn't look surprised, does he?
No.
All right, where were we?
Well, I was going to say that the one of the interesting things for me was doing some salary negotiations, and it's something I haven't done in a while. And it's something that I'm just inherently not good at. How do you determine your value, and then how do you express that to people who give you money?
Start high, go low. Or start high, meet somewhere in the middle.
Well, I was high the whole time for sure.
Well, that's not to be unexpected.
It's a
No,
good
it's-
question.
It is. It's a tough thing. I mean, as a developer, I don't want to move into the management space at all because I'm just not great with people. But I still have to manage myself and figure out how to present myself as an asset to an employer and say, here's what I think I'm worth, and not be embarrassed by over assumptions or whatever it would be. I mean, it's a lot like imposter syndrome.
Right.
Did you get it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think I got him. Oh, nope, there he is. Hold up. I swear, I almost hit my monitor. There's that.
Oh my goodness.
That's right. You're live with Eric and Skeeter.
Eric and the Skeeter. Where'd he go? You guys let me know if he's behind me, right? All right. No, but no, you're absolutely right. I mean, you have imposter syndrome. You have to come up with a way to validate what you're proposing, and you have to understand what fair market value is. The one thing about being a remote developer like we are is even fair market value is challenging, because to say a developer who lives in San Diego gets paid X is a little different when you're a remote developer, because if you're a remote developer, you kind of lose the privilege of having some sort of geographical location.
Right.
You're
at
that
not on
point,
San Diego prices. You're on whatever prices of where you're getting the job at.
right.
It depends on the person hiring you. I've been at places where they take where you're living into consideration. Supposedly, employers want to pay you as little as possible. You want to make as much as possible, and there's a middle ground somewhere.
Yeah, and that's one of the issues I have trouble with, is that when I'm dealing with my boss, I'm dealing with somebody that I'm friends with, and that person has to walk that tightrope of, hey, this person is worth a lot of money. Also, we don't want to pay him as much money as he wants. No company is paying the employee what they want unless they're in charge of the company, really.
Right. Well, I think talking about work and money, the friendship aspect kind of gets thrown out the door. I mean, you're there on the basis of what you bring to the table for the company, and I think everybody needs to know that. You need to understand that, as far as your friend goes, who's your supervisor, and he has to understand that as far as you go as his developer, that friendship, the only thing that friendship does is it kind of validates the underlying person you are. I think I know who you are a little better than I may a straight up employee, because I have that personal relationship. But again, that factors in probably very little when it comes to business.
And
Or
business
should.
is business usually, and you make that clear with that person. Like, that's just the way it is. You have a job to do. You want to do it well, but you also want to be paid for your time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a balancing act, and I think there are definitely problems with people who are bad at self-representation. They're in this situation. I mean, I could easily understand after basically 5 days of salary negotiation stuff going on, how having a manager to deal with your finances on a per project basis can be really, really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask, how do you, and this goes out to both you guys, obviously we have a sense of what we're worth. Sometimes it's easier for us to validate. I mean, one of the nice things about being a true consultant is, the next person who wants to hire you, if you're working well, there's your market value at that point, right? It's like client B wants to come in, you're working for client A. Well, client A is paying me X. Are you going to pay me Y? And then, it becomes a little easier to set that rate as long as you're working. I mean, that's the key. But when you're an employee of a company, how do you validate your worth? I guess would be the question.
See, now
But
I've built this aura of value around myself that true or not, if it's actually value, but I've found myself approached by people to work for them as opposed to seeking out employers for the last 10 years or so. So things have been sort of just presented to me. They haven't asked me for a whole lot of information on what I'm looking for. They've just presented what they've got and if that's going to fit or not.
that's kind of the boat I've been in for a long time too. And I made a forced change back in 2004. And at the time, I probably could have made a lot more, but was too afraid to go look for it. I didn't want to go look for an employer. So I had somebody approach me, and kind of very similar. I kind of took what they were willing to give me, not wanting to go looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and looking is terrifying. Looking for jobs is this weird personal experience where you have to prove your value to people who you've never met before, and you have to say, I'm as good as that, or I'm better than that. And interviews are first dates. They're terrible.
Mm-hmm.
My best interview is still awful. I've had great interviews where I walked out thinking, damn, I just nailed it and things were perfect, but it was still an unpleasant experience.
So have you guys ever had an issue where you were making X and you found out a coworker was making more than you? And how did you handle that? Or did you handle it?
Yeah, I did find that has happened to me in the past, and it's weird. I've worked. So what's really bizarre is I've worked for union shops before. When I lived back east, I was part of a union shop, and that was bizarre because you knew what everybody else was making. There was a published pay scale. You knew if this person was in this position for this many years, this is how much they made. And I don't know. It kind of lifted that mystique from okay, am I making as much as he is? Should I be making more? Because that whole question was removed. If you've been here for 3 years, you're in this position, you're making this much money. And I've been in a position. Now, I worked for a Fortune 500 company, probably Fortune 100 company, but I worked for a pretty big enterprise in which when your yearly, so you first you did these self reviews, right, where you had to do a yearly review on yourself and explain. And it was basic. I always felt like I was like pleading for my job again, or kind of going through the interview process again, where I have to highlight everything I had done in the previous year, what value I brought to the company, and all this other stuff. But more importantly, is if I was asking for more money, which typically you're doing because it was your yearly review, you had to do this research on what the market value was for your position, how many years you'd been doing it, and justify your pay increase. And it was a lot of work, man. I tell you, it was a lot of work. But you would still get in situations where you found out somebody was making more money, and sometimes it just boils down to that they're better at negotiating than you are.
See, and I think the company should have to do basically the same thing for you. What is the company bringing to your your table? Is the company providing the things you need on an annual basis?
Yes, doesn't really work like that though.
But it should. I mean, there's in the .com world, there's a lot of concern about whether or not the employees are happy with the company and stuff like that. And I think the way you find out is by surveying your employees. And I haven't been to a company where they actually want to know if the employees are happy.
Well, and that's funny because in that situation, I always thought that, especially management, and even at that time, I was lower in, I guess, considered middle management, but I had worked my way into the manager role. But I always felt that the people under me should be reviewing me, and I should be reviewing my manager, and he should be reviewing his manager. For those yearly reviews, I shouldn't be evaluating myself. But
Right, because no one's going to identify themselves as the wrench in the gears. You're going to have to identify upward.
it's funny. I just heard on a podcast, and I'm struggling to remember where I had heard it, but they talked about the whole demystification of salaries and how in companies, especially bigger companies, but just about every company, it's considered so taboo to talk about your salary. And that the company they had worked with had lifted that veil and said, no, everybody can talk about their salaries. We want to make sure there are no secrets, because what they learned was that there was these fake resentment being built up because somebody just suspected somebody was making more money, or they thought that their manager was making so much more money than they might have been. And so they actually had lifted this gag order, and they even said, it's like, we've done a research. You actually can't have a gag order in place for employee salaries. There's this whole thing where people says, oh yeah, our policy is you're not allowed to talk about your salary. Apparently there are labor laws that say, no, you can't, that can't be a policy. I don't know. I haven't done the research, but I'm just going off this podcast. They said, essentially, that cannot be a policy. That's kind of an urban legend. And B, you don't even want it there, because everybody knowing what everybody makes for a lot less stress in the work environment.
Yeah,
I think that's an article I shared with you, actually, saying that very same thing. It's, as an employer, you're not allowed to tell your employees not to talk about salary. But growing up, that's the way I always acted. I didn't talk about salary because I didn't want, one, if I was making more than somebody else, I didn't want to make them feel bad. And two, I didn't want to find out if somebody was making more than me because I didn't want to feel bad.
Exactly.
I mean, for sure,
I didn't want to feel cheated.
Sure, one of the ways we assign personal worth is how much we're getting paid, and I think that's kind of a bad habit to be in. I don't think that the amount of money that you make really has anything to do with your worth. I think it has to do with how good you are at debating your value and fighting for the money that you feel you've earned. No, not with me.
No, I get that. It makes sense. My experience was recent. It was just a couple of years ago. As a full-time contractor for a company, I felt I was making good. I made this big move based on the money I was making, and this person that I helped get hired just decided to tell me what they're making. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't ask, didn't care, and they shared with me. And to this day, it still kind of eats at me. It's like, really? I don't make near that. The only reason I would make as much as that person on an annual basis is because I put in more hours. And right. It's not a good feeling.
And I mean, full disclosure, obviously, so we've talked a lot about Diego Dev in the past, and John is my business partner in Diego Dev. So I've never mentioned his, I don't think I've mentioned his name before, but
we've talked about his salary before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's funny because, we're now on the other end of that. And obviously we're not going to openly, share everybody's salary, but we're constantly having the conversation to make sure everybody's on par with everybody else, including us. I mean, it's a pretty tight race within our organization as far as how much people are making between each other. And it's a constant conversation that we have. because there are people that are with us longer, that we feel bring more value to the table, and we want to make sure that we compensate them accordingly. But at the same time, that there's never that big of a difference between developer A and developer B, and it's a discussion we have. And it's funny because we end up in these situations where there's a snowball where we say, okay, well, we think it's time to do a bump, and we'll end up bumping everybody, sort of thing. So
it's because we want to bump one person because of the value they're bringing or something they've done, and it's like, well, if we do it for them, then we kind of bump everybody.
Yeah, so it's been an interesting experience, and clearly, I mean, there's a much larger impact to us because it's money that is going out for us. It's not like we're not this huge corporation where it's just like this money train that rolls by and we just grab as much off of it as we want. It's a serious conversation we have.
Corporations, those big corporations, just feeding off the money train.
So
it's funny. I've had previous employers that have told me that paying people, it's money directly out of their pocket, and at the time you're like, well, it's the business. Now as a business owner, you're like, yeah, every dollar that I pay that person is a dollar out of my pocket.
See, that just gives me the warm fuzzies. The harder I work, the more you two suffer.
But that's just the brutal reality. It's the way it is.
Yeah. I mean,
and again, talking about value, I mean, we're constantly trying to come up with the best solution on how we apply a value to our developers, and it's led to some interesting conversations between John and I. So it's been an experience. Again, I've done it before as a manager where you've had to do salaries for people, but this is a little different. Like I said, it's more, the money's more closely attached. Look, he's back.
I saw it that time. It was right over your head.
And you said nothing. Well, let's move on to the next conversation point here.
No, he's gone. Eric is gone.
Oh God,
what happened to him?
Okay,
Literally
let's move on.
So why do you encrypt users' passwords? Oh, this is horrible.
That's why we call it PHPUgly.
Because this is ugly.
It just falls apart on you.
And yet you're streaming this live.
Yeah, of course. Let's see how many viewers we have right now. Still 0. Oh, you've got a full-size beer. I like that.
Is there any other?
Well, yeah, I got the mini.
I went with an Iron Fire. 9 points. Where was that at?
Jesus, really?
9.5%. That's the way I roll.
I wonder if Eric knows that he's not in the channel anymore. He's just talking to a blank screen now.
Probably. Well, this is fun. Can't wait to do this every week.
I think Eric might have to upgrade his laptop choice. Uh-oh, my wife doesn't know what to do. She doesn't want to get on camera.
We're live streaming.
To 0 viewers. There he is.
And I tell you, he flies by and takes out my entire system.
You think it's him and not you swatting at him?
No, you
Dog
relax,
still hasn't
guys.
moved.
You relax, buddy. I got this. We're good. Oh man.
So I'm being
Alright.
told that we couldn't move on to discussing password encryption until you came back.
It's probably a good idea. I'm back.
So this is a topic that I think is important because I've seen a lot of PHP developers who still, amazingly enough, clear text store their passwords and other vital account information for their customers. And the idea of why you would encrypt a password if you're the one decrypting it. No, you don't eat that. That's my cable. No, stop it. My cat is my headphone cable again. No.
You should stop putting catnip on it.
You know that actually the rubber that they make these cables with is attractive to cats. It has a scent that cats want to rub on their faces. Stop it.
This show's going smashingly.
It is. So I wanted to talk about why you would encrypt your passwords because it is important. And I was recently hit with a very large scale attack. My company was actually covered in Forbes magazine, or at least on their online edition, after this hack had occurred where passwords were leaked. And this was an old system that was no longer in use, but still had customer data. And we were encrypting the passwords with what at the time was a good encryption schema, but just is no longer. And John, I know you've given plenty of talks about the password hash algorithm in PHP and how to use that and stuff. And the thing is that the vector for attack is what matters. And it's easy to get, it's far easier to get database dumps from a website than it is to get an encryption key if you're storing it somewhere in your software. So whether or not your site gets compromised, adding that layer of encryption is preventing that data from getting out just from one extra step, which is all you need in many cases. That extra step is going to put a lot of stopping power on basic hacks. Do you have anything to say about your password encryption history or nightmares or anything like that?
Similar nightmares to you, having been the victim of SQL injection, where they get a copy of your database, is super scary. So in that case, they don't have your key, so it makes it, if you have all your data encrypted, you're not fine per se, but you're much better off than you were if you're storing it in plain text.
Yeah, and
I think the talk that you're referencing, I went into various ways of storing your key, but that's kind of an advanced topic and beyond the scope of what you're talking about, right? It's just not letting people get your data in plain text where it's just a free-for-all.
Yeah, and that free-for-all runs real quick. I mean, it's $50 for a few thousand passwords on the hacker forums, and it can run rampant on your customers. And I think as developers, we have an obligation to our customers and our clients to keep their data secure, to keep their information private. I haven't seen a lot of legislation that says that we have that obligation legally, but I think there will be cases in the future that see companies being held accountable for misstoring data.
Yeah, and until people get used to using a password program to have different passwords on each site, it's amazing the number of people that use the same password across everything from their email account to their bank account to everything else. Yeah. So I've had that issue. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Eric, but I've had that little websites where you're like, nobody's going to attack my site, and if they do, who cares? But somebody on your site is going to use the same password they're using on their bank site.
That's exactly correct. Yeah, and Rebecca, my wife, still struggles with the idea that I tell her I literally do not know the passwords on the websites I log into, nor do I want to know them, because if I'm able to memorize them, then they're a bad password. And I mean, that's not even to start talking about two-factor yet. She can't, my parents can't, a lot of my friends can't understand the practice of using these other programs to manage our passwords, much less requiring a whole nother piece of equipment for authentication. But that's really where you need to be.
It took me years to get my wife to use the password program that I was, to secure the passwords that we had.
I think the people that don't understand why you would use a program like this are the ones who are going to find out why.
Right. Well, and we struggle with it though, because like our bank account, I obviously want to throw a super complex password that can't be memorized at our bank account, and the wife who manages most of our funds doesn't want that for obvious reasons. Or the reality of it is that if I did do it, she would have it in a clipboard somewhere.
Where do you bank again? I'm sure I'll start guessing a username here soon.
That seems like a crazy question, but that's actually a really interesting question. Is the way that these password thefts are escalated is that passwords come with email addresses. When you've got someone's password, you've also got their email address, and email is considered the safe central location to send password resets and password reminders and stuff like that. So once somebody has access to your email account, which is the first place they'll go, then they'll start seeing all the services you're signed up for, and they'll start issuing password reset requests to those services.
So one of my absolute favorite features, and I have put this in as a feature request to LastPass, which is the password system that I use if you want to go try to hack it and get my passwords. But I still pay to this day. I pay for a Yahoo email address. I forget how much it is now. It's like $20 a year or something. And the reason I pay for it is because it allows me to create these secure emails on the fly that aren't associated to the primary email. So it's not like Google where I'm just doing my name plus whatever I want to put in there at my address, and it's easy to figure out what my real address is. This is a completely different email address from my Yahoo email address. It allows me to create I guess they would be considered aliases, but unique email addresses for security purposes. So a lot of the sites that I log into, unless I vetted them out for years, a lot of the sites I log into will have a unique email address that is specific to that site, as well as a unique password, obviously. And I had done that way back in the day when I was trying to figure out who was spamming me or where I was getting my spam email from. And so each site would have a different email address. And then I realized what a benefit that was from a security perspective. Because just what you said, Thomas, it's like, now if you do happen to get my email address from one site, you don't have it on another site because it's a completely different email address.
Right. It just prevents that extra angle of attack.
So you're trying to get LastPass to implement something similar? Is it that we meant by?
Yeah. So I've pitched it to them several times now, where it would just it would be almost like like the password generator, where it would just generate a random string for an email domain that they manage, and they would associate it to your account, and all they would do is forward the email to your account that they have on record. But yeah, they're not buying it yet.
It's $1 million idea. $1 million.
It is, man. I think it's a very important aspect of security.
Yeah, the email as a security identifier thing in general is just a terrible idea, and we need to find some way to get away from that. But
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
better than it's better than username.
sure.
Yeah, but I'm sure someone like LastPass doesn't want to be responsible for your email either. If something
Yeah,
happens with their servers and they don't get it to you,
yeah, I can see that.
that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, the whole thing is messy. It's I hate the analogy, but it's really a house of cards when the entire infrastructure of the internet is now built on this one standard, which is email and password. And people to the point where it's now monetized. People want your email address because the number of email addresses they have is directly related to their market value. When Facebook was getting its initial valuation, it was based off of how many unique email addresses were logged in at any given time and how many email addresses were visiting ads that they displayed. And we've become this identifier token.
Which is just crazy because anyone that owns a domain knows you can have a billion email addresses for nothing.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, so hey, guess what?
Chicken butt.
We have a Laravel meetup this week.
We do have a Laravel meetup this week, but there's actually other meetup news.
What?
Yeah, as our frequent listeners know, I'm co-runner, assistant runner of the SD-PHP meetup, and looks like I'll be taking charge of the North County meetup that we run here.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Had no clue about that.
that's what I've been told by the two of you.
Is this a hostile takeover?
It won't be until
More like a surrender. I think it's more like a surrender, John.
No, it doesn't get hostile until the third or fourth beer, and then it starts to get aggressive.
That is a fact. Actually, you will be taking more of the lead for the North County, San Diego PHP user group. So congratulations.
Thank you. And I think one of my goals is immediately going to be starting to figure out what it is that people come to the user group for, and trying to cater to that more.
So you're gonna be disappointed when you find out it's John and I.
Yeah, they just come just sit in the audience and stare at me while I stumble over presentations.
Yeah, well, and there's a reason. Go ahead, John.
That's the hard part, is finding out what people want to be there for. There's meetups that we have where we're like, we're going to knock it out of the park. We're going to have 40, 50 people there, and you get 10. And vice versa. You're going to have what you think is a dog where you're going to get 15, and all of a sudden you got 35. It's like, I have no clue why. There's no rhyme or reason to who shows up when sometimes.
Yeah, and we've fussed around with moving the day around, moving the time around, making sure people don't have to deal with traffic and stuff like that. And
there's free food in there. Come on now.
Yeah, it can be very difficult to figure out what is or isn't making your meetup popular. And we've had trouble just in the past trying to find meetups that are relevant to our interests.
Well, so we struggle, right? We had this conversation a while back, and we struggle with it with the Laravel meetup group. We struggle more with it with the PHP groups. Is you have the split of complete new people who want to understand what PHP is, want to learn how to use it, and you have this group of advanced PHP, or not even advanced, just PHP developers looking to advance their skill set and wanting to dive into deeper topics and trying to find that balance. Now, in the Laravel group, we try to reduce that impact by having two presentations a meetup. And ideally one of them is geared for beginners and one gets a little bit into deeper topic. Maybe that's a solution you look at for your North County PHP meetup, but it's always been one of the bigger challenges I saw with our meetups is trying to find subject matters that keep the entire spectrum interested in coming.
Yeah, which can be really hard. We have developers coming in who have been in the industry for 20 years and they've started using PHP recently and want to see the group. We have people who come in, after their shift at Starbucks and want to get into developing with PHP and have never done any development before. And then we get people who've been developing with PHP for, 15 years or so, and they want something advanced about the newest technology out there and the cutting edge and what's everyone using to send SMSs through automated systems and things like that. So it's definitely really difficult.
And as an organizer, you want to accommodate everybody. You want to bring those new people into PHP. You want to lead them down the path. You want to be able to give the more advanced topics to the more advanced developers. It's just tough. It's tough, man. I tell you, anybody out there who runs any sort of developer community, obviously PHP is close to my heart, but any of them, I mean, they have my respect because it's a thankless job. I mean,
you
it's
attend
tough.
multiple of these meetups. You've been to Python, Ruby, and .NET meetups as well, haven't you?
Not .NET. Let's not get crazy. But yes, Python, Ruby, AWS. I go to a few of them. Yeah.
And
Not
yet
religiously,
you've
but
learned
go
nothing.
to them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Not religiously, but I attend.
Yeah, the hard part, again, is finding people that are passionate enough to speak. And we try our hardest to tell people you do not have to be an expert in the subject matter. There have been a number of times I've given a presentation where Thomas has just made me look like a fool.
That's
not hard to do.
That's incidental.
But we have given presentations where I've been like, oh yeah, I did this last week. I saw a tutorial. I did this. I thought it was cool. Let me show it to you. And it's really, I have absolutely no expertise in it, no understanding of what the hell I was doing, not even 100% why everything worked. Just kind of, this is a cool new thing. Let me share it. And you try to express that to people. It's like, look, you guys are all doing this. Just come up here and talk about it.
And that's actually my favorite part of many of our presentations is we get to the end and it becomes an open conversation about what is this technology, why are we using it, and is anyone here using it to an effect that they want to show off. The presentations tend to devolve when the presenter is not the most informed, and that is my favorite part, when it turns into, hey, there are other people here who have a perspective that they want to give.
But it's not devolve in a bad way. It's not making the presenter look bad or feel bad or anything like that.
No.
It's asking questions where hopefully the presenter is honest enough to say, I haven't gotten to that part, or I don't know that piece. I used it this way. And oftentimes there's somebody at the meetup that has used it that knows that part but doesn't know the part the presenter's speaking about. And it leads to great presentations that way.
Yeah,
and I often,
through
so those moments, moments, I learn more than.
Go on,
you girls.
I was gonna say through those moments in my presentations that I love, because I learn more than I went there with.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where I hear some, the presenter learning something from somebody in the audience and saying, "Oh, that's really cool." And that's a great moment for someone running a meetup, because you're seeing everybody learning, not just the boring slideshow presentation that you could have at your Monday morning meeting.
So I think what we're saying is, if you're listening to this show and you have a meetup in your area, attend, offer to do a talk. If you don't have a meetup, take on the challenge, start your meetup. Get people out there talking and start building the community. I say it's a thankless job, but
yeah, I was gonna say, you don't even have to get people out there talking. Just start it. When I was trying to start the one in here in SDPHP, I got advice from other meetup organizers saying, your first few, you're not gonna have anybody show up. Just keep showing up to the same location over and over again, even if you're the only person there. Eventually you'll get one, you'll start a small conversation, and from there it'll just start to blossom.
And always, you guys can always reach out to any of us if you need some advice. Our Twitter handles will be in the post.
Yeah, and reaching out to us doesn't. You're never
hold on.
bothering us.
I'm not done talking. Did I say I was done talking?
No, but
I think I'm still talking. We need to wrap up this topic. But I wanted to.
Can I mute you? Do I have that? Oh my god, I can.
I don't think you can actually mute me.
Oh no, I can.
Well, he's recording locally, and he'll just splice himself in there.
Oh damn it! Well, he's muted now.
He is muted and frozen.
I can't unmute him. That's the problem. I can kick him out. I can't unmute him. Oh God, what have I done? I've killed Eric.
Oh my gosh, you killed Eric.
Hold on, Eric, you're still muted there. I don't know how I've managed to do that. Okay, mistakes were made. Why can't I mute him? I can kick him. Oh,
he should be able to unmute himself.
No, it's just being super laggy.
There
we go. We missed you, buddy.
No, don't worry about it. I put a special message in the podcast. So now you guys actually have to listen to the goddamn thing.
You had a closing note there, Eric?
So we said that you're taking over North County, or you're taking more of the lead in North County. Again, John and I are going to continue to stay involved. That's not going to change. But there's a reason why we've stepped back a little bit, because for all you PHP developers downtown, we're going to continue to have meetings downtown on a monthly basis. Which brings back an interesting question. Are you going to have North County monthly, or are you going to keep it at every other month?
That's a decision I haven't made yet. And I think monthly actually might be the way to go for attendance sake. Having
it's easier, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's easier for the people attending to know whatever day of the month it is meeting night. So yeah, your downtown
start by asking
PHP
the venue.
Yeah, your downtown PHP people are going to get monthly meetings again. Don't worry about anything they're saying. I'm gonna edit all of that out. I found in Audacity I can just select a whole thread of audio and just make it go silent, so they can keep talking. You and me, we're on a different level, right? They had me on mute. I was still talking to you because we have that sort of bond. Screw these guys.
Now, see, this is the first recording that we're live streaming. So I want to give our chat room here the option to ask a question. So,
is anybody even watching?
We've got one.
Of course, we announced it. We announced it in all of our media, right?
Negative.
Did you post it?
No.
You didn't post it?
Of course not.
Good God, you are terrible at this.
I know. I'm off to a really strong start. Okay, that question you're going to have to ask my mother personally. I do not get involved in her life in that way.
Oh,
so we're just going to skip over that question.
So we had some bad news last week. We had some bad news. I drove out to Arizona this weekend, and I've been making the trip out to Arizona. It's becoming more and more regular. I have family out there, and I've had a lot of reasons I've needed to go out there. A reset. I've gotten to this point where I kind of like to drive out there because it gives me an opportunity to go really deep in my podcast listening. I mean, I've shared with you before, I listen to a lot of podcasts, but when I drive out to Arizona, I can get pretty deep into podcasts I don't listen on a regular basis.
Yeah, the dark underbelly of the podcasting world.
Yeah. This trip, however, I didn't, because the satellite radio company that I have in my truck had a station that was dedicated to Prince. We lost Prince last week, and I was a big Prince fan. Prince was the first rock concert I'd ever gone to. So I got to listen to Prince all the way out there and back. It was nice. I still listen to some podcasts, but I just want to put it out there. I miss you.
Yeah, we miss you, Purple Man.
Purple. That's your haze.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
I just want to put that out there.
It's cool. We can edit that out in post.
Yeah, why don't you edit something? I got something for you to edit.
I think that's gonna wrap it up for this edition of PHP Ugly. I don't know. What do you guys think? Are we gonna ramble on anymore? Or?
I think that's a
No,
good spot.
Done.
All right,
guys.
I've been Thomas Rideout.
I'm Eric Van Johnson.
And I'm John Gongden.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Peace.
I said thanks.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't know how that's going to turn out.
We'll sign out. Oh, who cares?
We'll see what happens. I've lost.
Can you end the live stream now?
Oh yeah.
Can
yeah,
you
sure.
hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yep. Can you hear?